Rightio.
Instead, I got complimented on my patience. Well, I'm not sure the people of Guam have as much patience as I do. It's 9:04, Tuesday, August 10th. More about that coming up here on the link. But first, let's head back into the KUAM News Zoom room, where we have the territorial epidemiologist, Dr. Ann Pobutsky. Been a minute, Doc. Thanks for joining us.
Morning.
Just wanted to get you on here now that the pandemic's over so we could just have a look back at how everything went.
It's not over. It's not over, not by a long shot. We've just seen an uptick in cases if you've been following the news, and that includes both military and local. A lot of household transmission, and the local cases, most of them are being identified through contact tracing, again, mainly household transmission. And the military, that's because they're doing exercises here. There's an extra 4,000 people up at Anderson. So, yes, there's been an uptick in cases.
Do we know?
So it's not over yet.
I'm just curious for the military. Do we know if the positive cases, were they vaccinated or unvaccinated? Or?
We just started getting that information. And in the past 2 weeks, we've had 172 cases. And that includes the military now. They just started giving us numbers on the 6th. That was Friday for their vaccinations. And yes, we were seeing about 42% of those cases were fully vaccinated. 4 were partially vaccinated, or 2.3%, and the majority, 55%, were unvaccinated. And it looks like those are mainly, more than half are in that 18 to 39 age group, again, because the military population tends to be young. And a lot of unvaccinated people in that age group.
Yeah,
less than 40.
What's the data on that, Doc? Do you have a breakdown, age demographic, vaccination status?
Just by age.
Okay.
Wow.
And it's similar for the fully vaccinated and the not vaccinated, where with the concentration in that 18 to 39 group. So it's younger people getting infected. We're not seeing, we are seeing a little bit of an uptick in some hospitalizations, but nobody has died recently.
And do you know the hospitalizations? Are they unvaccinated or vaccinated?
I don't have that data in front of me. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't have that in front of me. I think there's only 3 cases at GRMC. I don't think there's any, or maybe there's 1 at GMH. I do not know off the top of my head.
Okay. What about the numbers? What are they saying? I think Chimo was on a little bit earlier, but are we seeing younger children, I guess, that aren't eligible to get vaccinated or are eligible to get vaccinated? Are we seeing those numbers kind of increase?
Yes, among the unvaccinated.
Yeah.
We have, yes, about 1/4, 21% are under age 12. And that's in the not vaccinated group, new cases.
Oh.
Yep.
What?
Bree doesn't know what to do with herself because we're getting all this information now. She's like, whoa, information. Wow, breakdowns.
Well, it's the same message. Wash your hands, social distance, you know, wear your mask and get vaccinated if you haven't been vaccinated. Nobody's immune to this. Did you ever go to that link on the East West Center Insights, Chris?
Yes,
the one
I
with
did.
Dr. Tim Brown?
Yeah.
Yeah, he used to do the modeling for HIV, and he's saying there's not going to be any herd immunity. We're going to still see variants, and we've got to get universal vaccination, basically, to stop this. And it has to be done worldwide because we're not alone. The virus will travel. It will change. So actually, it's called The Virus Strikes Back. It's on YouTube. Anybody can watch it.
Yeah.
It's like, like The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
The Virus Strikes Back.
I see what they did there.
Chima said, the numbers, they tell a story. What are they saying? What's the story on your end? Since we achieved herd immunity.
Well, we do know that there was there was a large gathering at a hotel in Tucson that resulted in, well, I guess there were 300 people there, so that brought a uptick. There were at least 10 cases associated with that gathering, and then of course the contact tracing results in more. So it's gatherings and it's households.
What date?
And presumably household gatherings.
Right, yeah. So what date are we talking about this Tucson gathering of 300?
I don't have the exact, let's see, end of July.
Yeah.
This was after we reached herd immunity and restrictions were lifted? End of July.
July 24th, I guess so.
Oh.
Right.
Yep.
Doc,
So is that kind of is that what the numbers are saying, that the restrictions were lifted, everybody kind of went like buck wild, and here we are today?
It's hard to say because we've seen a steady transmission. The numbers were really low, and now we've just seen this uptick.
Mm.
So it was kind of smoldering, and again, now we've got some flames going up, military and local.
Right.
So it could be people maybe are thinking. I mean, look at what's going on in the U.S. There's like 700,000 people in South Dakota for some bikers group. That's going to be a super spreader event. People still need to wear masks and social distance and wash their hands and get vaccinated.
Yeah.
So nothing's changed about what we need to do. Yeah. And we're in good shape. We have a good shape. We're ready for anything here at Public Health because, we had this lull and we were keeping going, and now we've seen this uptick and we're on top of it. Contact tracing.
Dr. Hoa was on last week, and he was talking about the numbers, and the story he was saying from the numbers is that we're going to see hospitalizations go up within this week to next week. Is that what you're also kind of seeing or anticipating?
I can't really predict what's going to happen. It could, because one of the problems is we don't know if the Delta variant is here. We aren't able to pinpoint exactly if there are any Delta cases, because our samples that we ship to CDC, it takes a while to get them back. So we haven't had a report recently. And the military sends their samples for sequencing to San Diego, and it takes forever to get that. We are going to get a sequencing machine for the laboratory, but that's months away. So we really don't know if Delta is here. If Delta is here and is spreading, we are likely to see more hospitalizations and more younger people getting infected, and of course the unvaccinated.
I thought the Delta
variant was there. We've seen breakthrough cases as well.
Yeah.
We've seen an uptick in breakthrough cases.
We did. There was a Delta sample that was reported, but I think it was in quarantine.
And that was a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And yes, the person was quarantined from travel to India.
Right. Well, I mean, just doing the math on it, Doc, I mean, what's your educated guess about the presence of the Delta variant on Guam?
I don't know. It could be here. We don't have any evidence except for a small uptick. We don't know. We'll just have to wait and see and hope that people continue to wear masks, get vaccinated.
Do you
follow
think that?
Precautions.
Do you think we kind of lost sight of that very simple messaging, and our herd immunity and we're going to lift restrictions conversations, because those kind of dominated the last month at least, and now here we are.
Right. Well, it's not over yet. It's not over till it's over. These things usually take several years, and we are going to see probably more variants. And until we get the whole world vaccinated, it's just, we're going to see these kinds of surges and waves. And it all depends on how we put a lid on it. And I know people are sick of it, right? I'm sick of it. We're all sick of COVID, but it's not over yet.
Did Chima provide a breakdown of the 59 new positives?
I'm sorry?
Or do you have any additional information about the 52 positives reported last night out of the
From
check?
yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't have any details. half of them were identified through contact tracing. So that's pretty much the local transmission. Some were still doing contact tracing. So that's pretty much it. That's all we know. And that was, again, was that over the weekend? So that's why there's a bump. We were averaging about 10 per day, and then we started seeing this uptick. And then we started seeing 20 or more per day.
When does it
so
go?
That was over the weekend.
When does it go from an uptick to a surge? Because this uptick's been happening for, I mean, we're in week 2 of it, right?
Couple weeks, yes. We just have to watch and see what happens. That's all we can do. And tell people the messages. It's not over. You still have to wear your mask. You shouldn't have big parties, even if you want to. And if you're going to have them outside.
Yeah.
But even a couple weeks ago was also when the CDC discovered this event in, I believe it was Provincetown, was it Rhode Island, or anyway, in New England, where there was a 4th of July party, and they found that vaccinated people could spread the virus. So now they had to change their rules and recommend people wear masks indoors, even if you're vaccinated, because vaccinated people can spread it.
Right.
Not as effectively, but there's that issue as well.
Doc, do you think
but
that
people
kind
who are
of
vaccinated are more protected against serious illness and hospitalization? So.
But do you think that kind of waffling, I mean, I see it what it is, but the CDC kind of cha-chaing with these guidances about vaccination, do you think that has led to some of this vaccination hesitancy where people say, well, what's the point if I got to do all the things that, I was doing before I got the shot?
Hard to say. I think there's a lot of disinformation about the vaccine out there on social media and the internet, and a lot of nonsense, and people believe it. And that's part of the problem, is disinformation in social media and the internet. That it's going to change your DNA, or it's, I forget what other nonsense is being out there. Fibers, microfibers, Morgellon fibers. There's a lot of kooky ideas out there about the vaccine. And we're going to see FDA approval soon, probably in a couple weeks,
right,
according to Dr. Fauci, which is good news. So the recommendation is get vaccinated. You're not immune. You can spread it. School's starting. We have a testing program in the schools that's going to be starting soon. And that'll help monitor the kids. And if you're sick, go get tested, et cetera, et cetera. Wear your mask. We still have a mask requirement. As a matter of fact, when we did see the uptick in military cases, we have meetings with the Department of Defense almost weekly, and we expressed the concern with our DoD reps, and it was that evening that they decided to make the mask requirement on the base.
Right. But from some videos that we saw on social media, there are some local businesses that are still talking about military personnel in Tumon not wearing the mask mandate. So can you kind of go into exactly, so I understand there's a mask mandate, you have to wear a mask wherever you go, but what about, these military people who are down in Tumon and they're walking around outdoors, locals too. Are we supposed to be wearing the masks outside when we're around a bunch of different people?
Not if you're far away from people, you're hiking in the boonies, walking on the beach, no. They're more worried about indoors and, restaurants. If you go back to the Dr. Tim Brown's presentation, he won't even go to a restaurant because he was talking about the Hawaii cases where they're averaging, 600 new cases per day. He won't go to a restaurant. He said, get takeout. Restaurants are really bad places. Remember, bars and restaurants aren't very good places for transmitting virus because you have to take off your mask to eat and drink.
Another thing
he recommends don't fly anywhere either if you don't need to. It's not an emergency. Don't travel. Besides, there's unruly passengers on the planes now.
You mean the Karens? Doc, one thing I do see when I eat out, because I actually do eat out, is that servers, and maybe if you're a server in a restaurant, with the gloves, I feel like they get too carried away with the gloves. They feel like because they have gloves, they're touching all these different touch points. So, I mean, many times I've had a server come to refill my water, and I mean, I'll watch, right? I'm very vigilant. I'll see them touch like everyone's glass that everyone else is touching, and then they'll go and they'll try and take my glass with their gloves to fill my water. And I always say, no, I'll hold it, because I can see, like, you know, and it's almost like similar to vaccination, where people wear gloves, people get vaccinated, they feel like they're invincible, and it just turns into a bad case of the touchy-feelies, you know? So, I mean, there's that, too, I guess.
Hand washing. Right? It's probably better to wash your hands. Well, I know they have some rules, though, at restaurants about putting on gloves for assembling sandwiches at Subway, whatever. I don't know about the servers.
Right.
Just be prudent, use common sense.
You good, Bree? Doc, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Doc. It's good to see you.
Anything in closing
Okay,
you want to get out here? Because I know that you're a hard person to get, so.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right on. There's your message. Thank you. It's never over. It's not over now. Wash your hands. Do all the stuff you got to do. 9:20, quick break. Back with the Chief of Police.